If you want to use a regular antiperspirant or deodorant during the day, this is a really good option for nighttime wetness protection. It doesn't have any chemicals, it's really gentle, it's still going to absorb some of the moisture if you have moisture that you are concerned about. And we're adding a little bit of lemon in there as well, so it's got a little bit of antibacterial qualities that are going to help with odor. So some of these ingredients are actually pretty common in deodorant and antiperspirant, and I'll run through them real quickly. Aluminum, which is a heavy metal, and it has been linked to potentially contributing to Alzheimer's, so not something that we want to cram into our bodies. And heavy metals can actually build up in your system, and that's one of the reasons that detoxing is recommended. Parabens, bad. Triclosan, which has actually been talked about a little bit here and there because of its presence in antibacterial soaps. There's a lot of controversy on whether or not it actually does anything, so I'm not really sure why people are using it still, but it can be a skin irritant. Propylene glycol, which is a possible neurotoxin, and talc, which may contain asbestos. There are a lot of controversial ingredients in antiperspirants and deodorants, so feel free to do your own research if you have any questions, but this is what I recommend for nighttime. It's very simple. We're only using arrowroot starch, coconut oil, and lemon peel. So just a few ingredients, and obviously does not contain any of those things that I just mentioned. This is a really simple two-step recipe. We're going to be processing the arrowroot starch with the lemon peel to infuse the natural lemon oils into the starch. Then we will sift it so there aren't any lemon peel particles, and then we're going to mix it with the coconut oil to create our deodorants. Most homemade deodorant recipes recommend using baking soda, but I actually don't recommend using that. I know it's easy and most people have it, but baking soda can actually irritate your skin. It has a higher pH, so it's a little bit more alkaline, whereas our skin is naturally a little bit acidic. So for some people it can be an irritant. And then also cornstarch, there's a lot of controversy on GMOs and gluten and all of those things. I just prefer arrowroot starch. Cornstarch is kind of heavily processed, there's some chemicals involved, and arrowroot is just a pretty straightforward process of just extracting the actual starch from the arrowroot. If you didn't figure it out, arrowroot is a root. Arrowroot starch has actually been used for hundreds of years to treat wounds, and you can try mixing a little bit of it with water if you have insect bites, because that can potentially draw out the poison and just help it feel better and heal faster. Now, this step in the process is optional. You really don't need anything besides the coconut oil and the arrowroot starch to make the deodorant. I just like to add the lemon for the fragrance, and I like the antibacterial properties of the lemon oil. So we're just going to zest the lemon straight into the bowl, and then we're going to blend it really quick with the arrowroot starch, so it's going to break up all of the lemon zest. So we're kind of coating the arrowroot starch granules with our lemon oil. Make sure you get the back. I have here about 6 ounces of arrowroot starch. You can see it's a little bit less than a cup, and that's just purely because that's how much I want to use. Kind of a standard guideline for the starch to fat ratio is anywhere from 4:1 to 1:1. We're going to be adding the fat into the starch, so it's adjustable. Just straight into the bowl. I'm just going to let this go for like 30 seconds to a minute. Just going to take a spatula and make sure my lemon is, my lemon is getting mixed through. Nothing stuck on the bottom. Like another 15 seconds. I'm going to start with my 6-ish ounces of arrowroot starch. That's by volume, not weight, so about 3/4 of a cup. And I have about 1/4 of a cup of coconut oil and a glove. You don't have to use a glove if you want to save plastic, but it's a little bit easier to work with a barrier. I'm kind of squeezing it to see where I am. So now I have about another 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and I'm going to add half of that to start. You can always add, can't take out. This is why the bag makes it easier to work with. And I'm just kind of making a claw like this with my hand and moving it around in the bowl, so it's working everything together kind of just like how a mixer would, but it's my hand. Hands can be tools, didn't you know? Rest of the 1/4 cup in there. There. So it kind of looks like icing at this point. And I didn't fill up this jar with everything that I used. That 6 ounces gave me more than would fill this jar. You can also just store this at room temperature. Do keep in mind, if you're adding a lot of citrus and you have sensitive skin, you may not want to use this immediately after shaving. It's nice and smooth, has a good powdery feel. If you want this to apply a little bit more smooth, you can add more coconut oil, but you are going to be taking away more of the absorbent qualities as you put more coconut oil in. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe to stay updated when I upload new videos. I'll be posting 1 to 2 new videos each week, so see you next week.